Hey guys, sorry this video is so late. I can't seem to, I think I must have deleted the original. This is the first part to solving for a side in a right triangle. And this is material for week 1 of distance learning. Okay, so example 1. We have a right triangle. For now, they will always be right triangles. And we're given this angle here. We're also given this side, and we're wanting to find this other side. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to label what I'm given. I'm given the side opposite the angle, and I'm given the hypotenuse. So that's the first thing you do is label, okay? Then I need to think about my 3 trig functions. So sine, cosine, and tangent. I need to pick one of these trig functions and create a ratio using the information I'm given, but I need to figure out which one to do first. So if I'm given the opposite and the hypotenuse side, I will want to use sine because the trig function sine is the ratio of the opposite side over the hypotenuse, and I have opposite and hypotenuse here. So sine of the angle is going to be equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to want to solve for the unknown variable like you would solve an equation. When I have a fraction and I want to get rid of the fraction, always multiply by the denominator. 9 times 1 over 9 is 1, so they cancel out. So x equals 9 times the sine of 21. So in the calculator, all you do is 9 times the sine of 21, and that is approximately 3.22. Now, one thing is we want to make sure that we're in degrees, and just also on Khan Academy, make sure this is to the nearest hundreds. Okay, 2 decimal places is to the nearest hundreds. Okay, so example 2 is a little bit more difficult because this, all I did was multiply by 9, multiply by the denominator. On example 2, it's a little bit different. There's actually 2 steps involved in solving. So I have another right triangle, and I'm given this angle 37. Also know that this is 5 and this is x. So let's label those 2 sides. This side is not opposite of 37, and it's also not the hypotenuse, which makes it the adjacent side. Okay, and then this is opposite or across from the right angle, so it's the hypotenuse. So what trig function has adjacent and hypotenuse? Sine doesn't have adjacent and hypotenuse, it's opposite and hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite and adjacent, so then I know I'm going to use cosine. So cosine of 37 equals the ratio of the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. Now notice, in this example, the variable is in the denominator. Up here, the variable was in the numerator, but we still multiply by the denominator. X over x is 1, so it cancels out. So now I have, and make sure you do that on both sides. So x cosine of 37 equals 5. So that's the first step, is you always multiply by the denominator. And that's just the same thing we did up here. I'm just going to abbreviate. That's the same thing we did right here. But when I did that, it isolated the variable up here. Well, here that doesn't isolate the variable. I still have cosine of 37 that I'm multiplying x by. So in order to cancel that out, I divide both sides by cosine of 37. And those cancel. So x equals 5 divided by the cosine of 37. Okay, so we're doing 5 divided by the cosine of 37 Oop, I clicked the wrong thing. Cosine of 37 of my angle is 6.26. Hope this helps.